What is up, guys? It's Swimmer here, back again with some more Go Battle League action. This time I'm going to be trying out Jellicent. Jellicent is a new Pokemon that was introduced as a Go Battle League reward just this past week. Fortunately, I was able to get a pretty good one for Great League. Pretty good for Go Battle League. It's a 12, 13, 14, which happens to get to 1499 CP. So I'll probably build another one a little bit later with better PvP IVs and then move this one to Ultra League. But for now, happy to use this in the Great League. Jellicent can have Hex and Bubble as the fast moves. I do recommend Hex for slightly better coverage and just a little bit better energy gain, though it is still 5 Hexes and 5 Bubbles to the Shadow Ball. Then for the charge moves, Shadow Ball is a must, and then Ice Beam versus Bubble Beam depends on how you want to use it. I think if you want to use it as a safe swap, as I'm doing, then Ice Beam is the preferred choice. If you want to use it as a lead, then I think Bubble Beam is probably the way to go. I'm going to be pairing it with Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales covers the dark types and grass types that Jellicent is weak to very well. And then I'm going to have a Politoed in the back. This is another one of those ABB lineups designed to draw out the counter to the water types so that the Politoed in the back can really have a lot of play. But let's go ahead and get right into the battles. Alright, so this is my first time using it, so I'm definitely going to make some mistakes using the Jellicent here. Um, Hopefully I can do reasonably well, but we'll have to see how it goes. Bastiodon on the lead here is a nightmare. We going to swap into Jellicent, but they have a Victory Bell, and this is probably Grassel team, so this is probably game over. There's absolutely no way that this team can beat Grassel. It does not matter how you play it. There's just no chance. I'm going to come into Alolan Ninetales here and look to farm down this Victory Bell, but they're going to be able to get to a charge move, and I can't really shield, but it is a Sludge Bomb that takes us out, so I'm just going to leave. There's really not much counterplay against Grasshole with this team, so it's been a little bit less common since the Razor Leaf nerf, but you definitely still see it from time to time, and there's no way that you win that matchup. Right, getting into the second battle here. We have Ninetales into Hypno. So this isn't too bad for us, but with these ABB teams, if you don't have the counter to a Pokemon on the lead, you sort of need to swap. So I'm going to swap into Jellicent. They go for a Thunder Punch. I know I can survive it, so I don't shield. However, they are able to swap on that sort of fake CMP that we had. So the Shadow Ball lands on the Alolan Ninetales instead of on the Hypno, which isn't great for us. And they're able to charm us down. Now, we're going to have to come into Politoed because they're not in Weather Ball Ice range. So that means we're going to have to go for Weather Ball Water here, which should be just barely enough damage to KO. But we're in a pretty tough spot here. We've lost Switch advantage. We don't have an energy advantage, and they have 2 healthy Pokemon still. And then they actually have a Defense Deoxys. So this is looking pretty bad for us. We don't really have a way to threaten this Defense Deoxys with anything hard-hitting. So they're going to be able to get to some charge moves here. We can go for 2 Weather Balls here, but Defense Deoxys is so bulky that this isn't really going to threaten shields at this point. We look to try and swap there, hoping to catch a Thunderbolt, but we can't since we did CMP tie. It was actually just a Psycho Boost, so shielding the first one's totally fine. We don't need to shield the second one, as it will deal a lot less damage, but now we swap into our Alolan Ninetales, knowing that they would also swap. Not going to shield up this first move. Could be Fire Punch, which would suck, but I kind of need to hope that they don't have that. They do have the Fire Punch, and then I do a pretty bad job of timing my throw there. I threw after 3 Powder Snows when I should have thrown after 4. And what that's going to mean is that I'm not going to be able to get to another Weather Ball. No questions asked here. We do manage to CMP tie there, which is pretty good for us because it means we can let the Alolan Ninetales go down. But we really have no chance here now. This Weather Ball even if it KOs, we don't have any energy to threaten this Deoxys, and they can just counter us down. As it happens, the Weather Ball did not KO, so the confusion afterwards most certainly will. So, well played by my opponent, but that was a pretty tough team to go up against, to be honest. And, oh, here we get a bit of an error. I think there's a bit of an error here, so I'm just going to skip ahead. All right, Ninetales into Politoed here. So we're going to go ahead and swap into our Jellicent on the safe swap. And hopefully we can land a Shadow Ball here before they swap out. Yeah, we are able to get to this Shadow Ball. And they don't shield, which is pretty good for us. They're getting to a charge move here. I'm expecting this to be an Earthquake. However, we actually end up shielding a Blizzard, which Blizzard would be resisted, but it's such a strong move that it's probably fine to shield either way. So I'm fine with that. We're going to be able to get to a Shadow Ball against this Alolan Ninetales. And they do have Charm, so this is going to be a Weather Ball. I know it will be resisted, so it won't KO. Unfortunately, it does just enough chip damage that we can't get to another Shadow Ball, but this is going to put them in really nice farm down range for our own Alolan Ninetales. They're getting another charge move off here. This is definitely going to be a Weather Ball. They didn't have enough energy for the Psyshock yet, and we've got a lot of loaded energy now. Politoed is coming in. We're going to try and swap on the Weather Ball. We do manage to catch the Weather Ball on our own Politoed, and that is really great because it lets us preserve some health on our Ninetales and take some resistant damage there. We go for the Weather Ball, and they actually end up shielding that, so that's pretty good for us. They have a Cresselia in the back. So what we're going to look to do here is chip away with Weather Ball as much as we can. Eventually, they're going to have to shield something because the chip damage is just going to add up fairly quickly. So we're going to shield up this first Grass Knot. I know that we can get to 2 more Weather Balls. We're going to do a few Mud Shots here, and then we're one Mud Shot away from another one, but we're actually going to do 2 more, hoping to force the CMP tie. So we do 2 Mud Shots, go for the Weather Ball, and with a bit of luck, this will be a CMP tie with the Cresselia, and it is a CMP tie for on the charge move. That is really good because it means they have no residual energy. We can go into our Ninetales and go for a Weather Ball. They swap into Politoed. This will KO the Politoed either way, so we have back-to-back, so we're just going to go for another one right away. This is going to take out the Politoed, and then 1 more Powder Snow will get us another Weather Ball to take out the Cresselia. So the Weather Ball spam here was really powerful. We had so much loaded energy on the Alolan Ninetales that it was really able to carry for us in the late game, and that is going to be a good game there. Alright, so able to get a win there. That is just 1 win out of 3 games so far, so hopefully we can improve a little bit, but we'll have to see what we get. Alright, game against Cloud Woo here, expert rank, so we're probably really pushing for rank 10 here. We have Venusaur on the lead. This is definitely where we want to see it. They are going to look to swap into Stunfisk. We go into our Politoed, and this is a very favorable matchup for us. So what we want to do is leave with enough energy that we can get to an Earthquake against the Venusaur. We don't want to farm down without exacting a pretty heavy price from them. So we're going to go for a Weather Ball here. And then we're going to go for another one right away. This shouldn't quite KO, but we should be able to get in another Mud Shot or so. And I want to make sure I KO them before they get to another Rock Slide, since I do not want to have to shield. And then this Venusaur is going to come back in, and we're barely able to get to this Earthquake, so this is looking pretty good for us. Earthquake does a lot of damage. We get them into the red. They have quite a bit of energy, so we know that we're going to have to shield up a Sludge Bomb on our Alolan Ninetales, but we should be able to farm down. They have a Bastiodon in the back. I'm very slow to the swap here, but it's because there's really no hope for me in this game now. Jellicent versus Bastiodon is a neutral matchup, but Bastiodon is just so tanky that it's going to win that matchup because it can just take so much damage. So we're going to go for the Shadow Ball here. This is just going to get a shield. They have a shield advantage as well, so this is pretty bad for us. So another Shadow Ball here is going to be getting likely the second shield. We do get the second shield. With a bit of luck, we'll be able to make it to one more. We are able to make it to one more, since it is just 4 more hexes. So this is going to deal a little bit of damage, maybe 25%, but not really enough for Bastiodon to worry too much. We're going to have to shield up the Stone Edge on the Alolan Ninetales, and then build up a little bit more. I'm going to throw after 3 Weather Balls, Powder Snows, but my opponent does a great swap into Venusaur. This was a mistake. I definitely should have undercharged that Weather Ball, because if I'd undercharged, then I would have been able to maybe get a couple more Powder Snows in, and you guys are going to see that if I can get to this, I'm just getting the energy now for another Weather Ball. It probably wouldn't have been quite enough damage to KO, but it would have been close, and so I think that was definitely our win con, was to either recognize that they were going to try and sack swap, or undercharge that once they successfully did sack swap, and build up some extra energy. But I don't think it would have mattered, because I think that the Bastiodon still would have survived another Weather Ball and would have gotten to that Stone Edge either way. But it would have been really, really close. But very well played by my opponent there. Even though they got hard countered on the lead and on their swap-in, Bastiodon was able to carry that game for them in the back. Alright, Swampert on the lead, so what I'm going to do is throw 5 Powder Snows and swap into Jellicent, hoping to catch a Hydro Cannon. Swampert against Alolan Ninetales, they'll either go for Hydro Cannon right away or build up to the Sludge Wave. They actually do end up throwing a Hydro Cannon into Jellicent, which is pretty good for us, because it's resisted damage, and anytime you can get your opponent to do resisted damage is good news. So they come into Skarmory, and we manage to get in a Hex on the charge move here, so we're going to go ahead and shield that up, because what that means is we're actually going to be able to CMP tie to the next charge move. So we get a Shadow Ball off here, we're overcharging to throw off their counts, and then do 2 more Shadow Balls, 2 more Hexes, and we get to another Shadow Ball. This should be a CMP tie. They do shield, and it is a CMP tie, so they're going to have to use all their energy here to take us out, and we're able to lead with a shield advantage. So we can come in now with Alolan Ninetales and really aggressively farm the Skarmory. Yeah, we're going to look to farm all the way down. They're just getting the energy for the charge move now, and we're able to take them out. So we're going to Weather Ball whatever's coming in here. It is a Stunfisk, so that's totally fine. We can go now into our Politoed, and we know that they have a Swampert in the back with a Hydro Cannon loaded, but not a Sludge Wave. It's going to go for a Weather Ball against this Delirium Stunfisk, and then not going to shield up this Earthquake. Going to see if I can call the bait. It is the Earthquake, though, so they bring in their Swampert. I know this is just a Hydro Cannon, and I can survive, so I don't shield. We do survive. We're able to get off this Weather Ball. This is going to deal a lot of damage if it connects, and it does connect, and we're unfortunately going to get farmed down, but I think that they need one more Mud Shot to get to the next Hydro Cannon, and we're going to be able to connect with the Weather Ball before that happens. And we have the back-to-back, so this next Weather Ball is going to take out the Delirium Stunfisk as well, and that is going to be a good game. So the loaded energy that we were able to get on the Alolan Ninetales there from farming down the Skarmory was just really, really powerful. That allowed us to sort of carry that game. Alright, going to get into a second set here. Hopefully this one goes a little bit better. We only won 2 of that first 5. So we will see how this next bit goes. We have Alolan Ninetales into Swampert, and they actually swap out right away into Galvantula, which is really good for me. I do throw the Weather Ball a little early. I throw it in the middle of their Volt Switch animation, just because I want to make sure I get it off before any potential lunge comes through. I'm not going to shield. It's very common for a Galvantula to go to lunge here, however they go for Discharge. This is also okay, because what it means is that we're going to be able to get another Weather Ball off without the attack debuff. And they actually don't shield, which is very good for us, and we're able to Powder Snow down before they can get to another move. And then we have a Weather Ball loaded for this Swampert that's coming back in. So we're going to let them farm us down. They get a couple extra Mud Shots, but it lets us line up the Jellicent against the Swampert, which is a very positive matchup, resisting both the Sludge Wave and the Hydro Cannon. So we're going to farm up some energy here. They are looking to throw a charge move here. It should be Hydro Cannon, but they are actually going for Sludge Wave, guys. In that matchup, you want to be going for the Hydro Cannon. Both of them are single resisted, and Hydro Cannon is a much better move. We go do one more Hex and take them out with the Shadow Ball. Then they have a Skarmory in the back, so we're going to look to Shadow Ball this Skarmory. And they will be getting to the move fairly soon, so they definitely have the move. They're looking to farm up a little extra energy, but we are able to get to another Shadow Ball here, which is going to deal some really nice chip damage, and they probably are looking to farm us down, but they actually decide to throw their energy. I think that if they'd committed to the farm down, they probably could have. Either way, doesn't really matter. We have a Politoed in the back with 2 shields, and we just need to get to 1 Weather Ball. So even if they had the back-to-back already, we certainly would beat them to that 3rd charge move and would have had no problem taking them out. So that's going to be a good game. All right, in this battle we have Ninetales into Tropius. This is a very positive lead for us. That's definitely the matchup we want. They swap into Azu, so we're going to go into Politoed. Both Politoed and Jellicent have a good matchup against Azu, but I'm going into Politoed because it is very hard-walled by the Tropius, and I want to make sure I avoid that matchup. So we're going to go for the Earthquake right away. I'm not going to shield the first charge move myself. I want them to prove that they have Play Rough. They do have it. So we're going to be looking to go for Earthquakes now. We are going to shield up this next charge move, and my opponent does a great job of recognizing I'm going to shield and goes for Ice Beam. So we would have survived, but honestly, we can't really risk not winning switch advantage, so we definitely need to match the shields here, counting 5 bubbles and then throwing the Earthquake to force the CMP tie. We want to make sure that this Azu has sort of hard shielding decisions to make, so we do CMP tie. We're going to shield up the next Play Rough, and then I know that we're going to be able to beat them to the next charge move. So we go for an Earthquake here. This is going to be enough damage to take out the Azu, and that Tropius is definitely going to be coming back in, but I really can't swap out because I need to align my Alolan Ninetales against it. So able to get off a Weather Ball, a little bit of chip damage, but not really very much. And we can come in now with Alolan Ninetales. They swap. We go into our Jellicent, and this is a little tricky. So it's 30 turns to 2 Earthquakes and 30 turns to 2 Shadow Balls, and they have a small energy advantage. So we're not expecting to beat them to the second move, but we snuck in a Hex on the charge move, and that's going to be just enough that we can get to the second Shadow Ball before they get to a second Earthquake. This is just too early. They've only built up to Rock Slide here, and we're able to survive it. This Shadow Ball is going to be able to take them out. Even if we didn't get this Shadow Ball, though, I think that the Weather Ball would have been just barely enough damage to take out the Galarian Stunfisk, and we would have been able to take this match. But getting to that second Shadow Ball really helps, and now the Weather Ball from the Alolan Ninetales is going to come through and KO the Tropius, and that's going to be a good game. So we had pretty good alignment there, to be honest. The Alolan Ninetales and Tropius is just such a strong lead. And then we had good counter switches. Even though Stunfisk technically beats Jellicent, it's a close enough match that, you know, a little bit of favorable timing of your fast and charge moves, and you can flip that matchup. So, all right, getting into the next battle here. We have Ninetales into Altaria. This is definitely where we want to see it. So they swap out into Vigoroth. We're going to go into Politoed. I think that Jellicent is likely the better Vigoroth counter, but I really want to avoid that Politoed into Altaria matchup, so we're going to look to just drop some Weather Ball spam onto this Vigoroth. Winning switch advantage here is not super important, because with Ice Beam, Jellicent is a pretty strong response to Altaria as well. So I can go for 2 Weather Balls here. I am going to look to shield up this Body Slam. I want to get to 1 more Weather Ball. Mostly I want the Mud Shot damage to get them a little bit lower. So we go for the Weather Ball here. We are able to get a shield, so we're even on shields now, and at this point, I'm happy to let my Politoed go down. What I'm going to do now is actually look to Hex down this Vigoroth. So this is doing very little damage, but we're going to end up with so much energy. The counters are double resisted, the Body Slam is double resisted, so they're definitely going to go for a Bulldoze here. Bulldoze is a bad move, doesn't get stab. I'm perfectly fine tanking a Bulldoze, and this is going to force their Altaria to come into basically back-to-back Ice Beams. So Altaria comes in, it's going to eat one Ice Beam here, and we do one more Hex, and we've got another Ice Beam, so they're likely just going to let it go, knowing that we have that Ninetales in the back still. So they do let it go, and now they've got a Ferrothorn. So we should be able to CMP tie at the very least to this first charge move. So we are able to get this Shadow Ball. This is going to take the shield from my opponent, and then they're looking to farm up a ton of energy, and we're actually able to get to another Shadow Ball before they throw. They definitely have a Power Whip. I think they were just hoping to get as much energy as possible, and we actually CMP tied there, so that's really good for us. They burn a Power Whip, and now we just need to get to a Weather Ball, and my opponent, recognizing that, does decide to surrender. So we were quite fortunate to win CMP against that Ferrothorn. As I said, Ferrothorn and Jellicent are very similar, and whoever wins CMP is IV dependent. My Jellicent is from Go Battle League rewards, so it's quite high IVs, which is probably why I won CMP there. Alright, Umbreon on the lead. This is where you want to see it for sure. They're going to be forced to go for the last resorts against the Alolan Ninetales. I'm going to no shield at the last resort, and then go for a Dazzling Gleam here. If this connects, this is going to deal a ton of damage, and we do connect. That is like 2/3 of Umbreon's health, so it's really good for us. We're going to no shield this last resort as well, and then going to look to build up a little bit of extra energy and go for a Weather Ball here. This Weather Ball is definitely going to KO, but we actually get a shield. So this is totally fine with me, because what I'm going to do is just shield myself and then look to farm down. So I probably could have thrown a second Weather Ball there to leave with 2 shields to 1 advantage. They come in with Skarmory, and we're going to be able to threaten quite a bit with the Weather Balls before we go down. We're going to be able to land a second one here. And this is going to get pretty interesting. We're going to go into Politoed, and we swapped out, actually, hoping to not get farmed down since we have 2 water types in the back. And now I'm really wishing I'd saved that energy on the Alolan Ninetales. What we're going to need to do here is throw the Earthquake to get that last shield. We do get that last shield, and then we need to count 6 Vine Whips and then throw our Weather Ball, and we really need this to be a CMP tie. Connect with the Weather Ball, and it's a CMP tie. That's great for us. So it's going to be 5 more Vine Whips to the next Frenzy Plant. So what I need to do is come into Jellicent, do 3 Hexes, and swap. So 1, 2, 3, swap. We catch the Frenzy Plant. That is absolutely great for us. So we can now come back into Jellicent. They swap into their Skarmory, so we're going to do a little bit more. We're going to farm up a little bit again. So we have the Shadow Ball now, but we need to farm up a little bit extra so that we can definitely beat the Venusaur to the next move. So we're going to go for a Shadow Ball here. This is going to take out the Skarmory, and then 2 more Hexes is going to get us to the Ice Beam, and that's going to be enough damage to take out the Venusaur. Jellicent coming in clutch there, really big getting that sack swap, and that's where knowing the counts is super important. So Venusaur to get to Frenzy Plant is 6 Vine Whips, and then 5 for the third one. So knowing that it was 5 meant that I could only do 3 Hexes instead of 4. So that is where knowing your counts really comes into play, is when you're trying to do those sack swaps. Alright, so this set is definitely going much better. 4-0 so far in the second set here. And we're going to be getting our last battle here, Ninetales into cast form. So we're going to look to swap into our Jellicent. And basically what we want to do is land a Shadow Ball. You're going to overcharge a little bit and go for the Shadow Ball. They're definitely going to be getting close to that Thunder now. I think a couple more Water Guns should do it. So they have the Thunder here, and I'm calling the bait. and I get hit by a Thunder. So that's really not good. I come back into Ninetales. This is probably a mistake to come into Ninetales. We get some lag here, but Ninetales is gonna need to shield up the Weather Ball because it does too much chip damage. We're able to build up some more energy here, and we're gonna take this second one, but we're gonna farm all the way down and have a ton of loaded energy. But I really needed to correctly call that Thunder. So they come in with Ninetales. We can go for the Dazzling Gleam, which is really going to deal a lot of damage. And so able to connect on the Dazzling Gleam. We swap into our Politoed, hoping to catch a Weather Ball. Unfortunately, we're not able to. Not going to shield up our Politoed here. It's basically useless against this Altaria. The best thing that we can hope for is that they think that we have Blizzard. So I'm going to go for the Weather Ball here. I'm going to always be charging up to the Blizzard at least. So again, overcharging, going for another Weather Ball. If I can get both shields here, then we have a chance. We do get both shields. That's amazing for us. Going to go for another Weather Ball. And hopefully this will be enough to stall out the clock long enough. No, it's not quite enough to stall out the clock. And we can't get off another Weather Ball. If we'd gotten off that next Weather Ball, this would have KO'd, and we wouldn't have had to shield the Sky attack, so really close there. And they definitely have a Psy Shock ready on this Alolan Ninetales, which is going to be enough to take us out, and that's going to be a good game. Really, really close there. I needed to, well, first of all, I needed to shield up the Thunder. Not successfully shielding that was a big deal. And then I needed to land that extra Weather Ball on the Altaria to potentially win that. So there was definitely a win con there. We just didn't quite get it. So that's all right. Able to go 6-4 overall. So reasonably happy with that for a new team. We got a Frillish on the reward, so very happy with that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time.